Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to our first Inside APU of the semester, Inside APU Student Takeover. We're just going to give you a few minutes to log on. Welcome, everyone. We're so glad that you are here. Welcome to our first Inside APU event. We're so happy to have you here. This is such a great event to be at, and we're just so thankful that you would spend your Thursday evening with us. We have a lot ahead of us this evening. You're going to have the opportunity to hear from some of actual students at APU, and we're so excited to just share our experience and our journey at APU with each of you. Hello, everyone. Hi, those of you who are just logging on. So glad that you are here. Welcome to Inside APU Student Takeover. We're excited to be able to spend this evening with y'all and answer some of your questions. Welcome to the event. Thanks so much for joining us. We're super excited to be with you all. We are admissions interns at APU, and we all get to call ourselves students here. And so we are going to be spending the next hour or so just sharing our journey with you, sharing some of our experience at APU, and getting to answer some of your questions tonight. Questions about APU, questions about college. This event is all about your questions tonight, and we're so excited to be able to answer some of them. So welcome, everyone. We have a couple of videos planned for you today, a huge Q&A portion, so I'm already going to mention it. You'll see a Q&A bar at the bottom of your screen, and this is going to be the main portion of the event. So if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to type those in the chat in the Q&A portion, and we will get to them. Hi, Courtney. Thanks so much for chatting in. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to get started in just a few more minutes. We're just going to let some more people hop on. I hope that you all enjoyed your Thursday, and I'm excited that we get to end it all together tonight. My name is Alea, and I have the pleasure of being your host for tonight. I've been a student here at APU I'm going to be a senior, or I am a senior this year, and I'll be graduating in May. And so I get to share all about my story, but it's not just me tonight. We also have some amazing other students here who you're going to get to hear tons from. And so again, just be thinking about those questions in the Q&A portion on the bottom. Don't be afraid to be the first one to send in a question. Again, this event is all about you and your questions. So please be sure to send those in. And yes, and we're going to get started in just a few minutes. I think we're waiting on a poll. We're hoping to get a poll in here and ask you guys a few questions. We want to get to know a little bit about each of you who's joining us today. But my team and I, we were just talking about how fall is starting. And I know here at APU on campus this first week, I feel like this is the first week that the fall weather was settling on in. I know I wore a sweater to campus a few of the days. Would you guys agree? It's getting kind of cold. And then it shot back up to 90 again today. So you just never know with SoCal weather. But I'm loving it. I feel like we're getting closer and closer to sweater weather and hot lattes instead of iced lattes. And I'm a big fan. Hello, everyone. Those of you just popping in. Hello, my name is Alea. Welcome to our Inside APU Student Takeover. So glad that you are here. Again, this event is all about you tonight and getting your questions, any curiosities you have about college, about Azusa Pacific University answered. And we're just excited to be spending the evening with y'all. So you'll see on the bottom of your screen, there's a Q&A portion, and feel free to send in any questions that you may have about our university, about college life in general. We are a bunch of students from all sorts of different programs studying different areas on campus. So we are just happy to be here and be able to answer some of your questions as well. So feel free to put those in the Q&A. And we'll just give it a couple more seconds and we'll get started. I have a couple of videos for you guys. You'll get to hear from some past students, and then the main portion of the event will be that Q&A that I keep plugging. So be sure to be thinking about some of those questions and sending them in the Q&A. But again, welcome those of you who are joining in. We're going to get started. Just giving you a couple more seconds to log in, those who are popping in, and we'll get started. Yes, so we have our wonderful admissions representative in the chat who will be serving you in the chat today. His name's Thomas. He'll introduce himself later on in the event. But if you have any questions, instead of putting them in the chat, you're going to want to put them in the Q&A bar on the bottom. That way we make sure that we see them and get them answered. So great. With that said, we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, welcome everyone to our first Inside APU student takeover of the semester. I'm so glad that y'all are here tonight. It has been such a good time doing these. We did a whole bunch of them last year when we were all kind of on Zoom, but it's really exciting to be doing it now that a lot of us are on campus now and still being able to join with you virtually. And I'm so glad we have this opportunity so we can show you a little bit into APU, even through a Zoom format. So the way that this event is going to go tonight, we're going to start off with a quick little video, and you'll get to hear a background story from one of our past students. And then we're going to get right into our introductions. You'll get to hear from some of our student interns and current students at APU. We'll introduce ourselves, tell you a little about ourselves, and then I'll show you another video. And then we're going to get into the main portion of the event, which is that Q&A. So already be thinking about your questions as we introduce ourselves in a little bit. If there's already a question that pops up, for example, when one of our interns, Marion, shares about her being an English major and you want to hear more about the English major, put that in the Q&A. There's no bad questions in this webinar, so feel free to ask all of them. So with that said, I'm going to kick us off by showing you our first video. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go ahead and get started with this video.
Hi, my name is Hannah, and I'm a sociology major, and I'm a senior. Initially, I actually came into APU with a different major, and I was really excited about that major, and I took a bunch of classes, and the people were amazing, and the professors were awesome, but when I started to get deeper and deeper into it, I decided that I wasn't super sure about it anymore, so then I actually applied to study abroad in South Africa and got accepted. Entering it, I wanted to be as open-minded as I could and understand that people are incredibly different and enter that with just grace and so much love. Sitting and listening to someone and learning their story and appreciating them is something that is so essential to just sharing the gospel and being a disciple of Jesus. I completely changed my mind and wanted to become part of the sociology major. Jesus was like, Hannah, you're gonna do this instead, and I want you to do this, and you're gonna thrive in this. And then I entered the major and met so many so passionate professors that just wanted to sit down and wanted you to excel and wanted you to succeed. And I felt like I was a team with them. We can just have so many different conversations where people can sit down with one another and be willing to listen and be willing to challenge one another and say, okay, tell me why you believe that, or tell me why you think this should change. Sociology majors are some of the most passionate people I've ever met, and I think that I'm really lucky and so honored to be a part of that.
I absolutely love that video. I've seen it dozens of times and it's still so inspiring every single time. So that was just one little story from one of our past students, but we have some current students here live on this webinar that you're going to get to hear a bunch from tonight. So I'm going to take some time. I'll introduce myself, and then each of them will have the opportunity to tell you a little bit about themselves. So I'll kick us off. Again, my name is Alea. I'm an admissions intern here at APU, which means I get to have the pleasure of being a tour guide. I'm also a senior, so I'll be graduating in May. I'm a communication management major and a leadership minor as well. Born and raised in Southern California, just down the street from APU, but it's been really sweet being able to call APU my home for the past couple of years. So that's a little bit about me. I'm going to have Sarah introduce herself, then John, then Marion, then Kennedy, and then we'll get into the Q&A really shortly. So again, I already see Daryl, way to go, way to be the first one and send your question into the Q&A. We're looking for more questions as well, so feel free to put those in the Q&A as well. So again, passing it to you, Sarah.
Hi, everyone. I'm so happy that you're all here. My name is Sarah. I am a senior this year, and I'll be graduating in May as well. And I'm a liberal studies major, so that kind of teaching route with an English concentration, and I'm also a leadership minor. And I'm from Glendale, California, so not too far in Southern California either.
Hello, everybody. I am I'm John. I'm also a communication studies major, and I have a minor in Christian ministries. So kind of my goal is to go into some kind of ministry after after I graduate. I'm a junior, so I still have a little bit more time on campus, which is amazing. Um, but yeah, I'm from a little town by Santa Barbara, California called Solvang. It's the Danish capital of America. It's pretty amazing. If you haven't been, definitely check it out. But yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Hi, everyone. My name is Marian. I am so excited to be with you all today. I'm from Long Beach, California, which is about 40 minutes southwest of APU, but I have lived on campus all 4 years. I am a senior English major and biblical studies minor, and I'm also an athlete. I'm on the track team, and I also did cross country for my first 2 years of college. So if any of you guys have questions about athletics, I absolutely love representing athletics. But again, just so excited to be with you all today and to spend some time sharing about my experience at APU.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kennedy. I'm also a junior like John, so I do have a little bit more time here left at APU, which I'm so thankful for. I am a public relations major, and I would love to share more about that as well. It's a little bit newer. It's kind of like a communications, but different. We're growing, and so I really love it. And I also have lived on campus. So yeah, we're glad you're here, and I'm excited to talk about APU today with you all because I love it so much.
Awesome, everyone. Thanks so much for sharing. Everyone watching, we have the best of the best students here on this webinar. So I'm so excited that you'll get to hear from some of them tonight. And then we also have an amazing admissions representative, Thomas, who is joining us on this webinar as well. And so he's also here to serve all of you watching tonight. If you have any really specific admissions questions, we can have him come on and also share and get those questions answered. So Thomas is going to be a great help tonight. And with that said, I'm going to show you one more video, and then we're going to go ahead and get right into the Q&A. So I will go ahead and share my screen again. And again, be sure to send in those questions so we can be able to answer them after I show this video. Alrighty, here we go.
Hi, my name is Kylan Brooks. I'm a junior here at Azusa Pacific, and I'm an entrepreneurship major. I was doing my accounting classes, and I was really just struggling the entire semester trying to get all the work done. And I was like, I really don't want to be an accountant. And it just like clicked for me right there. I was like, why don't you start your own business? My accounting professor was the one who encouraged me to pursue entrepreneurship. He actually told me a couple of his life experiences as an entrepreneur, and he kind of encouraged me more so to do it and told me the path I can take with it. I believe the leadership here from all the professors kind of guide the students to follow the correct path that they want to do and not something that someone else told them to do.
Great, another awesome video. And that leads us to the biggest portion of this event, which is all about the Q&A. So those of you who have already popped in your questions, way to go, keep them coming. I'm gonna take some time to ask each of our panelists this evening a little bit about what they've been involved in. So we've already heard your majors, we've heard a little bit about some of you who even have minors, but I'd really love if we could all go around and share a little bit about some of the programs, whether that be athletics, the clubs, just the extra opportunities, maybe places we've lived on campus, if you want to share that as well, just so our any student watching can get an idea of the things that you've been involved in and all the things that they can ask about. So I will go ahead and kick us off by sharing about some of the things I've been involved with. So throughout my years, I have had the pleasure of being involved in one of my favorites that I love to talk about is one of our ethnic organizations. So we have a couple of ethnic organizations on campus who represent students of color, students of different ethnic groups. And one of those that I've been involved in is called our Pacific Islander organization. PIO is such a great time on campus. My freshman year, they threw the biggest student ran event at APU called the annual luau. And so I had the pleasure of being a part of that, and I was able to learn different parts of the Polynesian culture and different dances and experience foods, and it was such a good time. So I always boast about my time with PIO. I've also spent some time working with campus life and putting on events for our sophomore group, as well as being involved in discipleship groups. And then lastly, of course, the big one is admissions, giving tours. Since my sophomore year, it's my greatest joy. So that's a little bit about what I've been involved in. I'm going to go ahead and popcorn it to Marion. Marion, would you share with us some of the programs you've been involved with?
Yes, hello everyone. I would love to share. The first one is athletics. This has been so formative to my APU journey. Athletics is like what first drew me to APU, and ultimately the reason why I decided to come to school here. So I love being an athlete. I'm on the cross country and track teams, as I already mentioned. I am also very involved in my major. So our English department has a program called the West Wind Literary Magazine. So we have a literary magazine where you can publish any creative writing. So it could be short stories, it could be scripts, poetry, nonfiction, fiction, and we also take 2D art. And you don't have to be in the English major. So anyone who wants to write creatively can submit to the West Wind. So that is just a super fun project. And at the end of the year, we have literally a published book that we put out. So you could be a published writer if you come to school here, just super fun. I've been part of D groups here. D groups is short for discipleship groups. So if you want to join a Bible study, you can join one of those. And there's a whole variety of D groups. So you could be in people who are just the same grade as you, or all 4 years. You can focus on a specific book of the Bible to study. You can choose to do service together. So many different options. And I've also been a student employee for most of my time here as well. So if you are looking to work when you're a student here, there are so many different jobs you can take. I give campus tours. I also worked for our school's dining services. So I worked for our school coffee shop, Hillside Grounds. That was such a fun job. I worked for the writing center as well, where we help students with any writing project on any stage of the project. So writing center, you could do that as a campus job. But then that's also a free tutoring service for you. So that's another thing I've been involved in. And I have lived on campus all 4 years as well. So if you guys have questions about campus life and what it's like to live on campus, I would love to answer those for you.
So a little bit about what I've been involved with. I guess I will just start with my major. To all of you incoming freshmen, I just want to be the voice to tell you that it's okay not to know. I thought I knew, and I had quite a different experience with thinking that I knew. I chose a lot of different majors and I ended up in PR. Totally not what I came in as, but that's okay. So that's a little bit about my experience. My road was definitely a little bit more windy when it came to that. And I lived in Ingstrom Hall my freshman year, which is one of our dorms. It was a great time. And through that, I was able to join a D group with some of the girls on my floor. D group is short for discipleship group. And it was a really great opportunity for me as someone who was very, very new to faith in general, to get to know people and to explore the Bible and things like that. I also participated in the Center for Student Action with some of our action teams, which are global and local mobilization teams for our service learning and service credits. So that was super awesome. I was a part of a Greece team. Unfortunately, we didn't send, but that was one of the more global experiences that we offer. And then also I was a part of something as local as Around the Corner, being a neighborhood homework house tutor. So yeah, I'm also the first in my family to attend a four-year university. So maybe some of you can share that experience. But I was out here navigating that route a while ago, seems like now. So I can definitely answer some questions about that.
Awesome. So I'll share a little bit about my experience at APU. So I have lived on campus. I started as a freshman, and I didn't live here during COVID when I lived at home. But other than that, I've lived on campus and I've had wonderful experiences. I've also been a part of the Student Government Association, which is kind of similar to ASB, our student government in high school, but we in Student Government Association, we work with the administration and the faculty and staff members on campus, and we connect them with the students and just make sure that everyone's voices are heard on campus. And so that's something that's been really impactful for me. I also participated in our Alpha program. So this is kind of like orientation groups during that welcome weekend, but it's a place where you can get to know people of similar or the same major as you, no matter if you're coming in as a freshman or a transfer student. And so as a student leader, I would have my group come to my apartment, and we would just hang out, and we could play games or like just share about our weeks, or we could go to the beach or go on hikes, or really anything that that the students are interested in doing. So that was another great experience for me to participate in, as well as then to be a leader of more incoming students to just get everyone acclimated to campus. I was also, I did a lot of service credits through, we went into different elementary schools and middle schools across in the Azusa Unified District, as well as some other schools in the neighboring areas as well, through my liberal studies classes. And I got to have that hands-on learning, and I get to plan lessons in the class and then actually go into classrooms and teach these lessons. So I got that real experience in my education. So those are just some things that I've done that have been very impactful for me.
And then just some things that I've been involved with on campus. Honestly, just like a lot of different forms of ministry on campus, whether that looked like attending or leading worship nights. There's a club on campus called BAM, which is Brothers Against Harassment, which is kind of like a men's ministry. Another club called Free the Captives, which is all about giving voices to the voiceless and advocating for people in human trafficking. So just a lot of different opportunities with ministry, which kind of goes hand in hand with my minor. I also lived on campus my freshman year in Trinity Hall. This year I'm a commuter, so if you're looking to be a commuter, definitely ask questions about that. We can maybe give some clarity. But yeah, that's a little bit about what I've been involved in.
Awesome, everyone. Thanks so much for sharing all that. And so we're going to get into some of these questions that I see here in the Q&A, starting off with this great question. So someone asked, what are the different GPA levels for the academic scholarships? Is that based on weighted GPA? And I'm so glad someone asked this, because I get to share fun fact number one of the night, and that is that 100% of students receive financial aid to come here to APU. 100%, guys. This is awesome. I remember specifically this person asked about academic scholarships, and I remember the academic scholarship is what made APU one of the more affordable colleges for me, which is crazy to think, because I didn't think I would ever be able to go to a Christian private school. And so I want to definitely get this question answered. I believe our admissions rep Thomas would do a great job at sharing about the GPA levels and how that works with academic scholarships. And while you're at it, Thomas, if you want to introduce yourself fully and give yourself justice, please feel free to do so.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that introduction, Alea. Yes, as she said, my name is Thomas. I am an admissions representative here at APU. Back in the day, I did come to school here. I graduated with a degree in communication management. So I'm in good company here with the folks over here hosting our call. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about scholarships. And so, oh, hello, Courtney. I see your message there. Very nice of you. Great. Well, as far as scholarships go, there are a couple different things we can talk about when it comes to those. So what I will actually do is I'm going to share my screen really quick so we can take a look at this. So, okay. And so with our scholarships here, we've got a couple different levels with that. And so we range our scholarships based off of your GPA. And so the higher your GPA, the higher your academic scholarship will be. And so We're looking at a scholarship anywhere from $11,000 to $22,000 each and every single year. And you actually get that scholarship each and every year that you're a student here. And so let's say you are a rock star student and you get our President's Scholarship at $22,000. It is not $22,000 just once, but it's freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, and senior year as well. So it's a lot of money we're talking about. And while we're on the topic too, I think one very special scholarship that I would like to just spend a little bit of time talking about is...
Really quick, Thomas, before you proceed, you're doing a great job. We can't see your screen, but again, you're doing a great job at articulating it. So in case it doesn't end up showing up, just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay, wait, in that case then. Did that do it? Okay, great. That would make a little bit more sense. So going back then, let's rewind a little bit. Thank you for catching me on that. And so these are our scholarship breakdowns here. So we're looking at, again, from anywhere from $11,000 to $22,000 in scholarship money every year. But one special scholarship we have is this one here, our Trustees Scholarship. And so if you are at the 3.9 GPA range or higher and have demonstrated involvement in school activities, or maybe you're involved with things at church or in school or your community rather, we want you for the scholarship. This is a full tuition scholarship that we give to 7 students every year. And if you ask me, there are very few things in life that are better than free college. And so we can talk a little bit more about that if you want, but as far as what that process will look like is, if you're going to apply for this, you will want to make sure you send in your general application as well as your supplemental materials by this November 15th early action deadline.
Awesome. Way to go. Thank you, Thomas. And really great question. So glad you're able to share a little bit more into that. We're going to move right along. We have another great question here. And someone's asking, if I'm not Christian, should I even put the effort in to apply? I'm still very interested in APU, just not sure. I'm going to pass this one to Kennedy. Kennedy, could you speak a little bit about this? I know you mentioned earlier that when you came here to APU, you were still really new to your faith. So I'd love if you could share a little bit about that experience coming into APU, and if someone who isn't Christian can apply and should apply.
Yeah, totally. Thank you for passing this one to me. So when I was looking into colleges, so I'm from San Diego, so I did a lot of Southern California college tours, and APU came up on the Google search and things like that. And I looked into it, top Christian college. And at the time, I was aware that I did not come from a Christian family, didn't attend church. Nothing really to do with the Bible. I knew a few of like the really good verses, but as far as being a Christian and now what I know what it means to be a Christian, I was not a Christian. And that can be sometimes a little scary, coming into a space of the unknown. However, at APU, we are an open enrollment interdenominational school. We don't require you to sign a statement of faith. And to me, that took away some of the fear, because I didn't have to sign something that I knew wasn't true to me at the time. And then with that being said, taking that leap into going to APU as not being a Christian, I was overwhelmed with the kindness of the community, and the acceptance, and then also the way that Christianity was presented to me was really, really refreshing and inviting, which now here I am 2 years down the road. I have decided that I wanted to become a Christian and live that way. But that wasn't always straight and narrow as well. I went to the chapels and I was confused and I didn't understand what they were talking about and things I'd never heard before. I was a part of a D group, opening the Bible that I bought brand new for myself to go to APU that I'd never opened before. I was learning what it meant to be a disciple of Jesus and mobilize globally. And so all of those things came slowly to me, but nonetheless, they still came. And I can say, as if even if you are a Christian, but you have questions about faith, APU is a place where you can get those questions answered. And like I said, as someone who did come to APU, not as a person of faith, I'm so glad I did. And I would say, yes, the effort to apply is so worth it. And I think that it'll come with great great reward exploring this side of college and what college looks like here. So yeah, and with that being said, being back on campus and being back in this community of believers has been so great. And so I really think that you should take the time to apply, maybe do a tour, virtual tour. We would love to see you, talk to you more about this. And so yeah.
Oh, my cheeks hurt from that story. That's such a good one. Thanks for sharing, Kennedy. Yeah, so short answer to your question, can you apply to APU if you're not a Christian? Yes, and we want you to so badly. I know I can speak to it, like being a strong Christian coming to APU, what an experience it's been coming to a university, a Christian university, being in Bible classes, being in chapel with people who don't believe in Christ yet. It's been so special, especially for me coming from a household of not everyone is a believer. Being in Bible study classes, being in biblical studies courses, and learning how to have conversations with people who are new to the faith, like Kennedy explained in her story, or don't know anything about Christ at all. It's really a unique opportunity that I love to boast on. And I think that's one of the things that makes APU even just extra special. So thanks so much for sharing your story, Kennedy. I see another great question here. Someone's asking, will there be any virtual campus tours? And so yes, this is such a good question for the right group, because like I mentioned earlier, we are all tour guides here. And so we have the pleasure of giving tours all days of the week. And so for tours right now, your main option is to come in person. We have in-person campus tours. Thomas, if you're actually able, Thomas, if you could put the link that people could go to sign up for a campus tour later, that'd be really helpful, because we have in-person on-campus tours, and then soon, and very, very soon, we will be offering virtual campus tours, where you'll be able to see a virtual format of our campus and get to chat with a student as well, and an admissions rep. So keep your eye out for those, and if you're able to come to campus, please do so. It's been so awesome to be able to show students around campus. There's nothing like being on campus. So great question. I'll get to the next question. Someone is asking a little bit about internships. They asked specifically what kind of internships are offered for the communication management major. I'll be able to speak to that a little bit, but then I'd love if we could also, anyone who's had an internship, even if you're not a communication management major, share a little bit about that. I know that depending on your area of study, you will be required to have some sort of applied learning requirement within your GEs. So for some majors like myself, like Kennedy and John and I, we all have to complete an internship by the time we graduate. I know for others, like Sarah, for example, within liberal studies, I would love to hear her share a little bit about what that has looked like for her instead of having an actual internship. So I'll share for me. Last year, I completed my internship. So my junior year, I landed an internship on campus. So you can get an internship on campus and off campus. And I just want to mention, you're not alone in that process. We have an amazing career center. It's one of our resources on campus. They have a office on campus, but you can also access their resources online, and they will help you log into a job and internship database known as Handshake. And it's a platform that allows you to search for all the opportunities in your area on campus and off campus. So that's actually how I found my internship last year. And I interned with the Office of Corporate Worship, which is kind of a fancy name for the office that puts on our lovely chapel experiences on campus. So I served as a communication intern for chapel, and I had the pleasure of being in charge of connecting with our chapel speakers, helping organize chapel and add some creative ideas to all the content. And that was such a blast. And so that counted towards my credits so that I could graduate. So that is my experience with my internship. And it was really such a great time and helped me kind of narrow down my passions for serving others before I entered my senior year. Can someone else share maybe an experience they had with their internship, or how the internship search process went for you?
Hi, so I've actually not been a part of any internships. I turned down the offers that I was given most recently, but it is super easy to find internships. APU has a fantastic career center, and part of our career center is an online platform called Handshake. So super easy. Every APU student automatically has a Handshake account. So you would just sign on Handshake, and this is super common. Quite a few universities, organizations are part of Handshake. So what you do is you log on, and then, so I was thinking of being a teacher for a really long time. So I was looking up teaching internships, and so many things came up. So I applied to a few internships. One was in Memphis. It was the Memphis teacher residency. I also applied to one with Uncommon Schools, which services charter schools on the East Coast. And all of these internships that are listed on Handshake, they're vetted by APU's Career Center. So APU makes sure that every job listing and internship listing on Handshake is valid, is legit. So when I applied, I was actually given responses. I don't know if you all have ever tried applying for jobs and then they never get back to you. And you're like, okay, what was the point of all the time that I put into this application? When I applied to these places, I got pretty far in the process, was interviewing with them. And it was just a super great experience, even though I didn't end up taking the internships that were offered to me. It was just a wonderful experience getting to do these interviews, to talk with professionals in the field. So super valuable. Internships are available on Handshake. We have on-campus internships, off-campus internships. All of them that I applied for were off campus in different parts of the country. I had an opportunity to live in a different state. There were remote internships if you're concerned about COVID. So you will totally have access to all of the internships you need, no matter what your major is.
Great. Thanks so much for sharing. Has anyone else had an opportunity to be a part of an internship or maybe have some sort of hands-on learning within their program that they could share a little bit more about? Does that cover it all? I know Kennedy and John, you're still a little earlier in your program. Typically you do it during junior year or the end of junior year or senior year. So I'm excited for y'all to have that hands-on experience. And like Marian mentioned, we have the resources to find those. So I'm grateful for that. Awesome. So we'll move on to the next question. We have a really great question here. Someone's asking, are we required to live on campus? John, I know earlier you shared a little bit about this year, you're a commuter, and a little bit about that experience. Would you mind sharing with the group how that works? And can you live off campus? Can you live on campus? How does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're not required to live on campus. We do have resources for commuters. We have this whole room called the Commuter Dome, which has just so many resources. They have free printing, couches to hang out on, a ping pong table. They really treat commuters well. Free coffee, snacks. I could just hype it up all day. But really, like, as I said, I lived on campus my freshman year. I would absolutely recommend kind of just the dorm experience. Like, there's nothing like it. I'm still super close with all of the guys who I lived on my hall with. Like, every time we see each other on campus, it's like, oh my gosh, like I lived next door to you like last freshman year. So I would definitely recommend looking into living on campus, but it's not a requirement. If you did commute, it's also incredible. But yeah, so that's just a little bit on living on campus.
Awesome. I agree. I loved my time on campus. And then this year I do get to call myself a commuter as well, which has been a special experience. I love the commuter life. I also loved living on campus. Sarah, you lived on campus and you still live on campus. You lived on campus all of your years here at APU. Could you share a little bit about the freshman living experience and what these students can look forward to when they move on to campus freshman year?
Yeah, so we have a couple different options that freshman students who live on campus where they can live. So we have our all-girls dorm called Adams Hall. It has a lot of tradition associated with it because it is our oldest dorm, and like sometimes we'll meet students and their mom or their grandma had also lived in Adams Hall. So that's something that's really special to have those connections still. And then we have Trinity Hall, which is a co-ed style dorm. So our females live in one part of the building, and then our male students live in the other section of the building. And then we also have another hall where the students another co-ed with their separate genders are separated by floors. And in each of these areas, we have either the communal style restroom, which is where one bathroom is shared for the people on the hall. And that's where actually I've met some of my closest friends and some of my roommates just by brushing my teeth next to them freshman year, and I'm still friends with them all these years later. And we also have a suite style or Jack and Jill style restroom opportunity as well that students can be a part of. And yeah, we also, this is one feature on our tour. If you are interested in coming in on an in-person tour, we have those. And we also have, for all of our sophomore, junior, and senior students as well, other living areas in on-campus apartments that are all located right around our campus.
So awesome. Thanks for sharing. I lived in Adams Hall my freshman year and I loved it. Like Sarah said, it was so cool. Someone in my hall had a grandma who lived in Adams Hall. And then today in class, I was in one of my classes, conflict management. Actually was in that class with John today. And our professor shared that she lived in Adams Hall as well, which is crazy. I didn't know that. But seriously, that tradition at Adams Hall is so precious. So I loved Adams Hall. I spent an overnight event my senior year of high school in Adams Hall, and that is kind of where I sealed the deal and ended up at APU. I just knew that it was for me after that overnighter in Adams Hall. So thankful for the dorms. Next question, we're going to move right along. I have a question here. What are some things you can do on the weekend while going to APU? What a loaded question. So we can all go around and share. I could start us off. I know something I did, especially when I lived on campus freshman year, because the greatest thing about APU is that we're located in Azusa, California. If you're not familiar with it, that's just right out on the borders of the Los Angeles area. And so you're so close to literally everything you could think of. So if you want to go to the mountains go on a hike, if it's snowing and you want to go snowboarding, if that's your thing, if you want to go to the beach and go to the other end, you can do that. You can go into the city, or what I would often do is go to Disneyland. My freshman year, I would always go to Disneyland. I would park myself in downtown Disney, the lobby of the hotel, and I would study there. And it was just such a dream. And so that was my go-to activity, not only on the weekends, but also on the weekdays. So I have always loved being really close to Disney and being able to go with friends from APU because it's not too far at all. Marion, could you share a little bit about what you do on the weekends as an APU student? And we'll go to Sarah, John, and Kennedy.
Yes, I almost feel like it would be easier to answer what don't I do on the weekends, because I just love adventuring. I really want to speak to those of you who don't have cars. So even if you don't have a car, it is still super easy to get around on the weekends. We have our Metro Gold Line just half a mile away, so walking distance. I did not have a car my first semester and had so many adventures off of the Metro Gold Line. So if you take the Gold Line, you are like 10-15 minutes away from downtown Pasadena. If you guys are not familiar with Pasadena, this is where America's Got Talent is filmed. There's a lot of like movie stars out there. So our track team actually as an activity will go and sit in the audience for America's Got Talent, which is super fun. There's really great coffee shops out there. If you take the Gold Line further down, it'll connect you with the Red Line and the Purple Line out at Union Station. So you can head on over to downtown LA. My friends and I have gone to downtown LA to go to MoCA, which is the Museum of Contemporary Art. We've gone to Grand Central Market, Chinatown, Little Tokyo, Olvera Street. So much access to so much culture, which is just incredible. We took the metro and then took the bus one time and went over to Melrose Avenue. So if any of you have scrolled through your Instagrams and you've seen pictures in front of #thatpinkwall, that's where Melrose Avenue is. So there's so much access to just incredible historic cultural sites in Los Angeles, which I love going to. And then I also, once I had a car later, spent a lot of time going to Joshua Tree National Park, going to the mountains, going on hikes. But I will also leave a little bit for the other panelists to respond, because I could answer this question all day. I just love adventuring. So that's a little bit though on if you don't have a car.
Great. Sarah, could you share about a little bit about your weekend experience?
Yes, of course. I have spent so much time, like not only on campus, but especially off campus. I tend to study a lot, but one of the places that I like to go is Classic Coffee. It's one of our local coffee shops, and it's so wonderful. And even they have like taken over some of the like parking area, and they like put umbrellas out there for all this like students and everyone else to do homework. And I just love the ambiance there. It's just so incredible. I also have taken the Gold Line, like Marion was saying, a number of times. Going to downtown Pasadena and exploring, or even to like the Grove, even like, well, we would drive there, but just exploring all around Los Angeles, because there's so many things to do here.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Sarah. John, could you share a little bit about your weekend experience at APU, and then we'll go to Kennedy.
Yeah. So my freshman year did have a car. And if you're on the fence of bringing a car, you're like leaning towards not bringing one, like that's definitely a great option to go, because there's always somebody with the car. So I was like the car guy, which is really beneficial too, because then like you can have people chip in for gas, and like when other people are helping you with gas, you're kind of motivated to like go further. And like so kind of like Marion was saying as well, I just love adventuring, going to new places. Azusa's pretty close, like an hour away from Big Bear, so I love like going up and camping, and like I love car camping as well. So being at the mountains is just like probably my favorite place to be. I also am just obsessed with coffee, and like more than just like, you know, Starbucks, like kind of like the artesian, like hidden in the wall coffee places. There's a coffee shop like 5 minutes away from APU called Mantra, and they're open until midnight on the weekends and 10 p.m. on weekdays. So it's just kind of like the manager's goal is just to make it like a safe haven for college students to like go and study, which I think, I was just talking to someone today. I was like, the vibes instantly like get better in a coffee shop when it's dark out. I don't know why, but it's just incredible. But just on top of that, there's so many other coffee shops around, if you can drive a little bit. Also, it's like in the middle of so many food places. APU is like, we like to say it's in the middle of like the Trinity of chicken, because there's like Cane's, Chick-fil-A, and Popeyes all across the street. It's just like you'll never run out of places to eat around APU. So even just crossing the street is like instantly an adventure. So yeah.
I'll go quick about my weekends because everybody brought it up. I love going to LA. I'm just going to add that I love to shop. So I love to shop in LA. And then also I'm from San Diego. So I'll add the beach in there. The beach is a cool 35 minutes away. And so, yeah, some people take the metro to go to LA to see the art museums. I take it to go shopping. And so that's a go-to weekend activity for me. But also the food around is amazing. It's just a melting pot of every food you can think of. So beach and shopping, you're in the right place.
Awesome. I love it. You guys gave me so many ideas of what I could do this weekend. So I appreciated this question. Awesome. We have another question here, a little bit about the chapel experience. So I know we mentioned chapel earlier. I talked about my time interning with chapel, and I could go on and on about chapel, but to save us some time, I'm going to have Kennedy share a little bit about her experience with chapel and what that looks like for a student at APU.
Yeah, so what chapel will look like typically as it looked in the past, and how we're still trying to cultivate it to look in the future, is you'll have a 3 time a week requirement here at APU, but that is very, very attainable. First, with the fact that we have it offered on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings from 10:30 to 11:20. And during that 50-minute time period, no classes will be scheduled so that you can meet the requirement through those 3 opportunities. And then in addition to that, we have our Wednesday night Kaleo Chapel, which is a fan favorite. My freshman year, if it started at 9, we were in line at 8. So that one, the energy is there, the worship is there, it's awesome. And then Thursday nights, we have our alternating liturgical and prayer chapels. So you have about 5 options per week to reach your 3 time a week requirement. But then with that being said, you also get 10 absences a semester. So if it's a 2 chapel week for you because you need a nap or you need to study and take that extra time to, don't worry. Our university does a good job at understanding that we are students as well. And chapel for me is just a time to do some R&R, some like relating and relaxing, just relating to what the message has to say and just relaxing in the presence of God, and being in community. And so chapel is so energetic and just such a great time to just step away from the computer, step away from the books, clap your hands, sing, all of that. So chapel is not only a requirement, but it's also a great opportunity. I think I see it as an opportunity to step away from the busyness of being a student sometimes. So yeah, that's a little bit about chapel.
Awesome. I love chapel. Actually, after this live webinar, I know a few of us are going to go to chapel tonight, and we have an outdoor chapel kaleo. So I'm super excited about it. We have a great question here. Someone's asking, how busy is the average class schedule? How many units do you take as a freshman? Super good question. John, do you want to share a little bit about the units and freshman year and what your schedule looks like?
Yeah, so my freshman year, I just kind of wanted to like ease into a new environment. So I took 12 units my freshman year, which with that, it was just kind of like the perfect workload to be like, okay, like I can still kind of stay up late. Like I don't have as like too much homework to do. Like I can still like really invest, just kind of socially and like just all around. So I had 12 units. 15 honestly would also be very achievable. And having 12 units didn't like set me behind at all. It was just kind of like a good leeway into like getting used to college culture. And then kind of on classes, the class average, like the average size of a class is 19 students. So it's definitely like, you might see in like movies and stuff, like huge lecture halls of like college classrooms where like you can like kind of hide away in the back of the lecture hall. And, but at APU, the average class size being 19, it's a lot more like so much easier to build a relationship with just your peers in the classrooms, with your professor. One of my professors is actually still currently mentoring me. And like the only reason that relationship was ever made is because of like the small class size where there was like always kind of an opportunity to connect with him. But yeah, so that's a little bit about classes. I hope that answers your question about class schedule, but definitely encourage you to just kind of like ease your way in. Don't make it too hard on yourself. Yeah.
Awesome. That's great advice, John. Thanks for sharing. Next question. As a prospective student with autism, what can a current student tell a person with ASD that is new to California and APU? Really good question. So we have some awesome disability resources here on campus. Marian, would you share a little bit about what a student can expect and how that could serve them?
Definitely, yeah. So we have an academic success center, and their entire job is to help people be successful in their classes, especially our students with disabilities. So if you need any accommodations for learning disabilities or just accommodations in general, we are totally there to get what you need. So if you need support with note taking, or you need to, like if you're in a wheelchair and you need to take the elevators, things like that, the Academic Success Center is there for you for whatever needs. So yes, having autism is should never be something that stops you from going to college. So the Academic Success Center is there to support you. We also have what's called ADR, which are accessibility and disability resources. Sorry, I can't read my own handwriting here. So ADR is there for you. You can fill out a form for any of those resources that you need. As far as coming to California and having autism, so I take it you're probably out of state. I will say California is a huge place. And so we definitely my mom works in special ed. So being able to support people with autism is super important to me. I think you'll do just fine, honestly. Whatever accommodations you need, we are going to make sure that you're comfortable and safe as a student here. So that's a really great question.
Awesome. So glad you could answer that. Thanks, Marion. Okay, this is one of our second to last questions. It's going to be a speed round. Y'all ready for this? So John was talking earlier how we are located kind of in the trinity of chicken. So you get Chick-fil-A for breakfast, Cane's for lunch, and Popeyes for dinner. So food, we love it here at APU. Let's do a speed round, starting with Sarah, of your favorite place on campus and off campus. You could share both really quick. You could just hype one up on campus, hype one up that's off campus. I want to hear it all.
All right, so my favorite food on campus would definitely be Sam Subs. It is a fantastic sub sandwich place where you can get fresh bread and fresh ingredients. I like to fill my sandwich completely full with all the toppings on it, so you can't even close the bread. So good. And I think one of my staples is from Chick-fil-A is their chicken cool wrap sandwich with avocado lime ranch sauce. It is so good.
Love that so much. Go ahead, and John, would you share your favorite places to eat on and off campus? Then we'll do Kennedy, Marion, and I'll finish it off.
Absolutely. Well, Sarah kind of stole Sam's subs, but I'll just say my second favorite, which is definitely still high up there. We have Mexicali Grill, which is just a build your own Mexican food, like burritos, quesadillas. Breakfast quesadillas are incredible. That's my definitely try it with some Chipotle ranch. So good. And then off campus, Panda Express, just a go-to.
Yes, Sarah not only took my favorite Sam Subs, but also my avocado lime cool ranch wrap. But with that being said, the sushi place across the street from Azusa Pacific, right across the street, it's one crosswalk, sushi station, so good, love it. And then on campus, I would say anything in Heritage Court has 3 eateries there. Love everything there. Hillside Grounds has great coffee, great smoothies. It was a good time. So.
Kennedy, you just provided me with the perfect segue because Hillside Grounds is my favorite place to eat on campus. I am biased because I worked there, but the acai bowls were fire. Loved the acai bowls. And then off campus, I love Mantra Coffee. It's about a mile away. That place has my heart and soul, honestly. Mantra Coffee, their dirty chai latte, incredible. So good.
I'm so hungry now. Thanks for sharing, guys. We already mentioned my favorite, which is Sam Subs. I also love our dining hall. They have such good vegetables there. Big fan. And then off campus, I got it for lunch earlier. We have a drive-through ramen place. It's called Rakuten Ramen. Drive-through ramen? Are you kidding me? It's so good. So that's my go-to. Literally walking distance from campus. Okay, one last minute. We're going to wrap this event up, and it's going to be an even speedier round of if you could leave these students with one piece of advice going into college, what would it be? So keep this one sentence, 5 to 10 seconds, just one piece of advice. We'll start off with Marion. Would you share, Sarah, John, Kennedy, and I'll wrap us up.
Yes, my 5-second piece of advice is if you have any concerns, please talk to an admissions rep. They are so there for you in your application process. Yeah, so any concerns that you have, I know college can be so scary. Talk to your admissions rep. They are there for you.
I would say my one piece of advice is just don't be afraid to do stuff, whether it be applying for APU or whether it be like making friends or going to different events. I would say just do it and you won't regret it.
My 5-second piece of advice would just be say hi to people, make friends, smile, be the friendliest version of yourself, and you will not regret it.
My speed round advice would to be wherever God places you, whether that's at APU or elsewhere, go into that with an open mind and an open heart. Don't be afraid to say hi, to wave at someone, to smile, make someone's day. It really is the little things. So like I said, wherever your steps are routed, go there with an open mind and open heart. And I don't think that you will be disappointed.
Those are so great. I'll finish us off with my quick piece of advice. Mine would be to ask your professors for help and introduce yourself on the first day of school. Like that first class, go up to your professor and just say, hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm new here, and I just want to introduce myself. That has opened so many doors for me. So I encourage y'all to do that. All right, it's 7 o'clock. I want to be mindful of our evening. So we're going to wrap it up. Thank you everyone who tuned in. Thank you for sending your lovely questions. Sweet Thomas has put in the chat the link to apply to APU. You can find that application there. You also see a link that will allow you to look up our campus tours and be on the lookout for our virtual tours, which will be coming up. And then if you have any questions that we didn't get to tonight and you want them answered, please feel free to email ugadmissions@apu.edu. That could all be found on the website as well, or call our main number that you'll also see in the chat. So that is all for tonight, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. We love spending our evening with y'all, and have a wonderful rest of your Thursday evening. And we'll hopefully see you on campus very, very soon. Bye-bye.